It
There
beats.
it goes.
It beats. All right. Well, welcome. This is Chapter Sara.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Now, Sarah is a friend of a friend, so we're both gonna be meeting her for the first time, kind of. Getting her to know her more. I think I met you a couple weeks ago.
Yes, actually, I think the first time that we met was at a Halloween party, not too far from here. I think you came with Rebecca, and I was dressed like Mikasa from Attack on Titan.
No way.
Yeah. And then it was at a little Halloween party. It wasn't too far from here, but I think it was like maybe over a year ago.
Oh,
I think that was the first time.
Sheesh. Do you remember what I was wearing? Do you remember what my costume?
I don't think you came dressed up.
Oh,
to be honest.
Damn. I feel bad, man. That's horrible.
I don't think you did. Yeah.
I love costumes now. It's
I do
funny.
too. Yeah, Halloween's probably my favorite holiday.
Really?
And I always do it on a whim. I never plan it.
When you were younger, were you a big Halloween person too?
Yes.
Really?
Definitely.
Okay. Horror movies and everything, or?
No, my mom was actually really strict. I could not watch any horror movies growing up.
At all?
No, she was like, I don't like them, so you're not going to watch them either.
I guess.
Yeah, so it didn't ever. And then even when I got older, I don't think I actually watched my first rated R movie until I was 17.
You said, I'm going to follow the rules.
And I went to the movies with my mom. And it was fun, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, like going and seeing rated R movies was not a priority when I was a kid. So
I mean, it's not like you were missing everything, you know.
no, but I do feel behind now because people always ask me, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, I know it's a good movie. I've heard good things, but no, I haven't gotten to it. It's on the list.
So do you like scary movies now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Well,
and
my
daughter is like a big horror buff too. So I've been watching like little appropriate things with her, but for the most part, yeah, I do go back and watch certain scary movies. Recently I've watched Friday. I've seen Hereditary, and
I haven't seen that one.
I hadn't seen, and everybody had said good things about that one.
I heard it's really good, and I still haven't seen it.
The newer movies that I've been watching that I kind of like are the X and Pearl. Have you seen those ones?
No.
Those ones are good.
No, those ones I did
Mia
see.
Goth is great. I love her.
I need to
Saw her in
up.
Infinity Pool 2. She could have been better. But
Infinity Pool. I don't remember that one.
that one came out in theaters a few weeks ago. I went and saw it with a friend.
Oh, so it's probably still out.
Yeah, it should still be in theaters.
I'll have to check it out then. What's it about?
It's kind of a chaotic thriller story. Like you kind of don't really know what it's totally about, but basically couples are all going on their honeymoon, and some certain events happen. It's like a very drugged scene too, so but it turns really quickly, and then they end up kind of getting stuck there, or the husband does, and it's a really weird turn of events because you kind of don't really know what the movie's going. That's why I feel like it did fail, is it didn't really have enough of a plot to really be like, oh, that was a great movie, but I don't know what it was about.
You were like, all right, yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Cool, yeah. What happened?
Yeah, that's kind of how I left the movie. It was like, I have no idea what was happening.
Hey, well.
But yeah. Do you like scary movies?
I love all movies, except for like Westerns, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I watched Hateful Eight. That one.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a Western.
I guess that's considered a Western.
And you know what? I feel bad because I say I like watching movies, and then you're gonna name all these movies.
No,
and I'm
we
saying I
haven't
don't
seen
like
them. That's me. I'm like, I haven't seen that one, but Hateful Eight I have.
Okay. Was that one good? I heard that
Yeah,
one
it was
all
pretty
right.
good. It was a little gory, and again, another
that's
chaotic
Quentin.
one, but it was good.
You watch
liked
other
it.
Quentin Tarantino movies?
Yes. Which one? With Christian Slater, I've seen a few with him in it.
Christian Slater. With Quentin Tarantino?
Yes.
Okay, now I don't know.
I can't think of the
Are you
name.
sure? No.
Yes, I feel like I have to look it up.
Look it up. That's fine. I don't believe you. That's why I gotta see it now.
Yeah, so
Christian Slater. Tarantino.
Slater.
Yeah, no.
I'm
gonna feel bad because I
True Romance.
Oh, that's
True Romance.
That's old.
I know,
think.
it is
How
old.
that?
It's 1993.
Yeah, I was not born yet.
I was born, but I would have been one.
I was gonna
Still,
say
I've
it
seen
wasn't much.
I've seen it in my adult life, so I feel like I've caught up. But I've also liked that type of era of movies. I think I like old 80s and 90s movies.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen Purple Rain, like,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
See, those
Heathers
movies
is
are
another
cool.
one. Have you seen
Heathers?
That one has Winona Ryder and Christian Slater in it, too.
Damn,
Another
see, I'm
chaotic,
behind.
good movie. Gotta watch that one. That's a good recommendation.
I have I feel bad. I can't call myself a movie buff.
Those are like his doomed love movies.
Oh, okay. That's your go-to now? Or what? Not
I guess
now,
so.
but in general?
That's what I like. If I'm going to watch it by myself type of thing, those are the ones that I'll enjoy. I don't like watching scary movies by myself.
Really?
No.
I kind of do.
I don't. It's scary.
Exactly. I like to feel the fear. I like to be like...
I'm not going to bed after.
I want to... You know what? It's because it's bad. I want to see if it actually happens, you know?
Right.
And then I'm like, I don't know.
Anticipating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not, but...
I'd rather like have someone watch it with me. That's when I first watched scary movies like It and Scary Movie and like, even though it's not scary, but like Ring, Grudge.
Oof.
Yes, like any of those types of movies I watched with my best friend in high school. Like, but again, I was older than 17.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, my mom was just really like chill about not introducing that to us. She was like, it's scary. Like, why am I going to make you guys scared?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I respect that. And same thing with other inappropriate movies. She just was very, no, you don't need to see them. But if it was a PG-13 movie, I watched it if I was 13 or 12.
Right.
But my mom was really big about like what we watched. Yeah.
Which is good. I mean,
I don't feel like it was bad. I do think that my view on a lot of things was very innocent for a long time, which is kind of, I think, how my son's is too.
I mean, that's kind of what happens, you know?
Yeah,
when you
and
grow
he's
up
homeschooled, so I mean, it's inevitable. He's going to be innocent.
Yeah. He's just cradled.
He's not like your other 6-year-olds.
Yeah, but...
not 6-year-olds, 6th graders.
6th graders, yeah. But we're talking about you first. We didn't even get started. Not even on it. So, Sarah is from Clovis?
Yes. So I am from Clovis. I grew up in Clovis schools. I think I went to Sierra Vista as
for elementary?
For 3 years. So like preschool. Preschool, kindergarten, and 1st grade. And then we moved out to like northeast Clovis, so over where Cedarwood Elementary is. And I grew up in that area. My sisters grew up there, went to Cedarwood. And then I went to Clark, Clovis High.
Wow, okay.
And then after Clovis High, I was there for my freshman and sophomore year. And then I went with my cousin over to Clovis East my junior and senior year.
Now, obviously we're a few years, I think like 2-3 years apart, but I've heard some things about Clovis High. I don't know. Which one was better, Clovis High, Clovis East? Your opinion?
Probably Clovis High, but I didn't even say the last school that I graduated from. I graduated from Gateway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
My last semester. And so out of all the Clovis schools that I went to, Gateway was my favorite.
You are the second person to tell me that. So I'm starting to think maybe Gateway is the way.
Yeah, it is the way. Yeah. Like, I'm considering sending my son there because it would just be right up our alley. I don't know.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah. I think they focused a lot on just treating us like an individual and giving us individual focus. But also we were in classrooms too, so it didn't totally feel like individual focus either. They just were really passionate about understanding kids that were really either misunderstood, troubled, were lacking things in their home and seeking it in school and getting in trouble. Or in my circumstance, I transferred schools and one of them had more credits than the other, so it kind of just imbalanced, and then I felt really behind, so it kind of just got to a point where I couldn't really catch up. Yeah.
See, that's what I've always thought with, like, my mom's a teacher, so she tells me like how it's credentials are weird, not credentials, but whatever, it's
the credits
are weird, how they transfer or something, and it's I don't know why we don't have like, okay, why don't they all just why don't we all get on the same page?
I know.
But,
so, or
whatever.
why doesn't it just like average out if you have a different set of credits, right? So
Like
it didn't
this
really do
equals
that.
this, like figure it out.
Yeah,
I don't know. People,
I don't know.
we're just
So,
lazy.
Yeah, so I went to Clovis schools. I grew up here in Clovis. I recently, I think within the past 5 or 6 years, moved out to Northwest Fresno.
Oh, okay.
I'm indifferent about Clovis. Like, I don't really care to shop here, go to restaurants here.
Really?
I don't have the most enjoyable time. I also have really young kids, so there's always been like a weird thing about being treated differently because my kids are young and I look really young, and so I feel like I've always been treated like a really young mom, or maybe
Right.
I've given, you know, last attention on things, even though I'm older and established, trying to just have dinner with my kids or shop with my kids and
Right.
get the same service that other 30-year-old looking moms are getting.
Right. They think, you know, oh, she can handle it. She's not tired. Or something. It's like,
Yeah. She's young.
just because I'm, you know,
She's a
just
young
because I
mom.
look
She
young
chose
and good.
to have kids young.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, I did choose to have kids young. But yeah, so I guess I moved out to Northwest Fresno, and I loved it out there. I really did. Even just shopping out there, eating out there, people were nicer. Customer service is so
How
much
far?
kinder.
Sorry, how far north?
Over there on the Fig Garden Loop. So
Hey, that's where I
yeah,
live.
love it. I love
Yeah.
shopping out there. I don't know. It's a different experience. When I come out here, even when I have to drive out here, people are just rude, entitled, have no
yeah.
kindness, think they own the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the greatest experience.
It's definitely not. They want to spout community, but it's definitely, you know.
My community.
Yeah.
And I grew up
Maybe
here,
like my
so that's
neighbors or
what.
something.
But I just and I think I'm very eccentric too sometimes, and like
Really?
how I present myself or how I dress, and so sometimes I think that people will look at me as immature, and I get that a lot, and I'm like, no, that's not it. I'm just
Expression.
still creatively expressing myself as an
Yeah.
adult. Like, we should be able to do that.
Yeah.
For the rest of our lives,
No,
you know,
1,000.
we admire the old people that are like in their 70s being you know, showing their creative expression. Like, why can't we just continue to do it throughout our whole lives and not feel afraid to show our true selves?
See, the thing though is the people that do that are criticizing you, or not just you, but people
In general who express themselves.
Yeah, I think it's just those people just never, either they got shut down early, you know, so now they're trying to shut you down, or they never got that chance, you know.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
They just don't.
It's always like, it's a personal problem if you have something to say about what I wear or how I look or how I talk or how, like, I'm really nice and genuine, and I always get really misunderstood for whatever reason that I'm not really sweet and nice. People misunderstand me, and I think they have a misconception that I might be rude or might think that I'm entitled. I'm just professional, but always nice at all times. I don't know how else to describe my personality.
Right.
Like, when I talk to people, I just conversate and talk, and I answer all kinds of questions. I love to talk. It's one of my favorite things.
That's good, because a lot of people just don't. I don't know.
No. It's true.
I mean, I
It's
used
not
to be
the
that
same.
way, so I'm sorry to be that way, but that was me. I was like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, but you're not like that anymore.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does.
And
it takes time to open up.
A lot of psychedelics.
To be vulnerable, right, is what it is. To
Yes.
be more vulnerable and to be able to speak your truth or be your true self.
It's a scary thing. Vulnerability is just opening yourself up, you know?
Yeah, it's brave for sure.
It is. See, and I think that people say that, but I'm like, it only is because it's rare.
Yes.
So then once everybody starts getting on the train of like, hey, let's just all be open, then it's like, well, then why aren't you open? That's gonna be the weird thing.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, because I do think that I personally get frustrated when people have a hard time being authentic or have a hard time not being judgmental or feel like they should be judging you or about yeah, I just think people have too much of an opinion about somebody else instead of looking within or focusing on what they should be doing in order to be more authentic to themselves.
And then also, I think some of them too is like they don't even like what's within, so they are like trying
Deflect.
to make sure others don't like
A projection.
it. Yeah, it's like you're trying so hard to make sure others don't like themselves instead of making sure you like yourself.
Exactly, I agree.
And it annoys me.
Yeah, so I guess, to answer the question, I am from here. I grew up here.
That's the original question.
That was the original question. But yeah, I grew up here. I do love Fresno too. Like I love Fresno as a whole. I guess, everything that it offers creatively. I'm very prideful of my city and the hidden gems that are here. I think there's so many great restaurateurs and people who are ambitious to open businesses, small businesses, and there's not enough. There's just not enough of it going around. People leave Fresno to go shopping or leave Fresno to buy gifts or to buy art, and it's like all here.
Yeah, I mean, we're just not established yet, maybe.
No, but we're supposed to be a community, so shouldn't we all be established?
True. Yeah, we should establish it ourselves.
Our community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think we're on the way to doing that. I think that downtown and the everything that's happening even in the Tower District and
do you go to the
Art Hop?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Sometimes I sell macarons out there. I've done it a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah. So it's really fun. I love doing that.
I didn't know that. I'm out there a few times. I've been out there a few times.
I've done it about twice, I believe. But I've also done pop-ups at the Pinche Cochino's art show. I've done that for like 2 years in a row, so that was fun.
Nice.
I love that. But little tattoo
Where's that
shops. That's over at Zumbi's Tattoo Art Studio. It's on Van Ness, I believe, in downtown.
I only have 2 tattoos, and they were both done in a house. So.
I just got a tattoo, so my first tattoo,
First one.
Yes, my first tattoo. I didn't prioritize tattoos when I was younger. I had kids. I couldn't find myself spending $500 on a tattoo.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, they are expensive, and that's just like for something small, right? That's over time. That's not for just your whole arm. That's for several tattoos over a period of time if you want to be tattooed. Yeah. But so I didn't prioritize it. I had other priorities financially, but I did tell myself that when I turned 30, I was like, why don't I just wait until I'm 30 then? Like, since I had already made it so far and had no tattoos, I was like, when I'm 30, I'll just start getting tattoos. And when I turned 30, I booked my first tattoo appointment and I got my tattoo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have it all planned already, like what you want and stuff?
Yes, I did. Okay. I still have all of my other ones planned too. I plan on getting a few more, but then being done after that. So I got it's a cherub angel, so like the cute little chubby angels, but it's wrestling a snake.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a really cool tattoo.
Yeah.
It's on my arm, but
still healing.
It's covered.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it.
And then you just got it when,
So I started it in November, and I just finished it this 2-3 weeks ago.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's probably like photorealism almost, like.
Yeah, it's almost done, but it's like really, it's realistic.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks really cool. I'll show you a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I got to see the other ones you want too.
Yes.
How long have you had? Like, you've always had this list, or did you like?
No. So, yes. Generally, I've always had certain things that I want. Like, I want a dragon tattoo. I know.
Why you read that book?
No, I haven't. But I've seen the movie. But no, I haven't read the book. Either. But I know I want a dragon. I've always known I wanted a dragon tattoo. My son is also obsessed with dragons. But I've always loved them. Thought they were very mystical. I just wanted one for the longest. Yeah. And then I'll probably get a girl with two-face tattoo. Probably because I'm a Gemini for one, so I like astrology, and so it has relation and meaning. But I want it to be in an anime style.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I love anime. I
More
want
of
to
like a mask off type thing.
right. I want to get a bunch of anime tattoos. So.
I do too. I actually want to get my favorite anime is Attack on Titan.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
it's coming out.
It's coming out. I'm so excited.
I was gonna say next week. Right?
I've read actually the whole manga.
Oh, so you already know
what happens.
I don't.
So the last chapter, there's a panel that I want, and it's like super corny, and everybody will know what I mean by that. But
who cares?
Eventually, but it's super corny. But I want it on my arm and the whole page actually. So
damn, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. I'm excited for that.
Okay, so then do you read it? Do you read like online or do you read physical copies?
Viz Media. So I have, but I have physical copies. So I have the first through, I think, the 40th chapter. So and they all are individual ones.
Yeah.
I wanted to eventually get all of the colossal copies, which include, I think, about 10 chapters in each one, but they're all colored and they're really thick and they're big pages, so they're collector's items. But yeah, that's my favorite anime. Like I love that show.
Okay. Now the Mikasa makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And
that was the only Halloween costume I planned ahead of time. I've never planned any other Halloween costume. I was like, I want to do this year because season 4 had just come out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this show so much.
I didn't even start it until season 4 came out.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was a great season.
I started it so late.
It was a good season.
I'm glad I did
this
too.
This next
yeah.
one is going to be really good, actually, too.
I'll probably have to rewatch all of it again because I know how it
I rewatched it every time that a new season comes out.
Oh my god!
And I'm like itching to rewatch it again, so I think I'm going to do it.
All right. Yeah. I got too many shows to watch.
I know. What other shows are you watching right now?
Well, see, I have a problem where I am still stuck on One Piece, but that's every week.
Oh, okay,
so,
yeah. That's a good one. I watched all of Naruto. That one's my favorite.
Yes, watched all of that. I didn't start Boruto, though.
I did start Boruto. It's okay. It's slow.
That's what I hear.
Take your time. Like. It's got a lot of filler.
Yeah.
That one's like my number 2 anime. I love Naruto.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd say it's up there.
Inuyasha is another one that I like. Very nostalgic for me.
Okay.
Like that one.
Maybe, you know what? Before we start, I don't even watch that many.
You don't?
My list, no. My list is probably like very small.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to have a way bigger list than me.
Demon Slayer is popular. Haven't seen it. Chainsaw Man is new. Yes, that one I really like.
That one was good.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
No, my friend really loves that one. He wants me to watch that one.
That one's good. It's funny.
Yeah.
That one's a good one to watch for sure.
I think I watched the first episode when he eats that shit.
So what made you get into anime? Since you said you haven't really watched that many.
Well, my first one was Naruto. Okay. Like when I was younger. I don't remember when. Probably in like high school. So that took all of high school to watch because I was taking my time.
Whoops.
Hey.
Wait, we're recording.
It's okay.
Hi. Yes. What's up? Yes. I'll bring that to you in a moment.
She's smart too. She's like, I'm not trying to be on camera.
She did. She's like, I'm going to go around.
She's funny.
I know, all the dogs. Where were we? What made you start getting into anime?
Well, so I started Naruto high school, and then you know what? I think the second one I watched was One Punch. So it was just funny. It was just like, it was the funny ones I got into first.
Yeah.
One Punch Man.
That one was good too. I've seen that one.
Yeah. There's another funny one that I'm missing now. But either way, and then One Piece, everybody was like, you gotta watch One Piece. And I was like, all right, fine.
It's such an investment.
It is.
It's such an investment.
But see, I thought it was over.
No.
And then
it just ended on Netflix.
Well, see, here's the thing. When I first started, I thought it was over. Obviously, about halfway, probably like 400 or 500 episodes in, I was like, oh, it's still going.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well,
the longest running one so far, I think, other than Dragon. Well, you couldn't consider Dragon Ball.
I've never seen that.
You haven't seen Dragon Ball Z?
I know. They're going to hate me for it. But
it's another investment too, but yeah. That's an OG anime, so usually people are like, well, I've seen Dragon Ball, does that count as an anime? And I'm like, yeah, it does.
Nah. I mean it does, but I haven't seen it. And you know what? I don't even need to see any other anime to tell you. And I am the stereotype that One Piece is the best, and that's just how it is.
Oh, One Piece is good. My son watched all the way through, so I was like, oh, and I watched a little bit, and he knew exactly what he wanted to watch and really enjoyed it, and says it's his favorite too now.
That's not a boy, that's a man. No,
true, it's becoming a man.
No, it's really good, but yeah. What got you in anime to start off?
I got into anime when I was in high school too. Inuyasha I had seen like really early on. Mm-hmm. People say it's not considered an anime, but I definitely, or not that one, but Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh,
I consider it an anime. I think it's a great starter anime that everyone in America can at least say it was like a show that they watched. I mean, it was on Nickelodeon.
No.
So yeah, and everybody enjoyed it. I watched that all the time. I watched Pokemon a lot as a kid.
I didn't even realize that, yeah.
Yeah, a lot. I watched a lot of Pokemon as a kid.
Same.
Sailor Moon, but then I was really into like the Ghibli movies. So those offer a lot of comfort for me. Like I like Kiki's Delivery Service is my favorite. I like Howl's Moving Castle. That one's another great one.
Don't Hurt Me Again.
I know. I love all of them. I recommend them on HBO Max.
See, I have HBO Max, so now
they have a whole Ghibli category
okay.
on there. So if you go down to Hubs, you can find it.
And literally, all I've heard, there's literally been no bad reviews about a Ghibli movie.
No, and they're just beautiful. They're artistically put together so well. They carry a lot of emotion like regular animes. The music is peaceful, and then the color palettes, they're always soft greens, but there's always pinks, and it's just really beautiful. So it shows a lot of like Japanese countryside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't like when people are like, "Oh, watch anime." I'm like, you know what? You don't like emotions, then just don't talk to me.
I know, you just see all the emotions that are done through art, which is really nice to see. Yeah, it's done so well.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that in Disney movies.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels
watching any Disney movies?
Oh, I grew up watching every Disney movie, and they had their little, now we're going to Disney Channel.
Oh, yeah. I watched Disney. I would think I was a Disney Channel kid over being like a Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network kid, but it's not because I chose to. My mom was like, this show's stupid when we were watching Cartoon Network, so we would be like, all right, we'll change it. And just watch Disney Channel all the time.
Dang, that's so funny because there's a distinct difference from people who watch Disney and watch
Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, right? Because Nickelodeon is one of those.
Yeah, there's like three
My mom hated SpongeBob. Was like, this show's stupid. And I was like,
okay, hold on now.
SpongeBob is great. Like, it was one that we would have to like just be like, sorry, we're watching SpongeBob. But SpongeBob did the most reruns. So she would be like, okay, I need you guys to turn this off.
That's kind of true. Yeah, they did have a lot.
They did have a lot of reruns.
A lot. I guess, so you had, how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 siblings. Okay. They are actually 6 and 7 years younger than me.
Oh, wow, okay. So you were...
I was kind of like an only child for 6-ish years, and then I kind of went on to being independent still because my mom basically had twins. They were 16 months apart.
Wow, yeah, that's quick.
Yeah, so
then they went to school together and everything, right? And then you were just like...
their relationship, don't get me wrong, our relationships are great.
Right.
But their relationship that they have is... like, you can see the different memories that they created, the closeness that was there, the very sibling relationship. Like when I was in 6th grade, my sister Marlena was in kindergarten, and I didn't even go to school at all with my other sibling. And that was the only year of school we experienced together. And so then when we were older, when they became adults, that's when we became closer.
Right.
I can't even say it was when I had my kids, because they were like 8 and 9 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can talk about that young. Too. You had your kids young, right?
Yes, I did. So I had my son when I was 18, and in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's 12 now, and I started really young. It wasn't on purpose. It was on an accident, but I really just took the opportunity to continue to really be a mom and be a provider for my child, and focused a lot on what it was that I needed to do, and just grew up really quickly.
Yeah.
But I had also kind of done that already, I think, because, like I said, my mom and my dad had my 2 younger siblings, and not that it put me on the back burner too much. I mean, it did in some ways. I can recall a lot of ways where it did, or where I felt left out, or on my own. Like, I think to it now, I started staying home by myself when I was 8. Right? Like, stay home by myself. My mom's like, oh, I gotta go do something, but I can't leave your sisters home, so I'm gonna just take them real quick. And I'm like, okay, so I'll stay home by myself real quick. I was a really good kid, and I was really independent too already. So I would stay home for little spurts. But when I was in 4th grade, I would ride my bike home from school every day by myself.
Damn.
And that's 4th grade. And then by the time my mom went back to work when I was in 5th grade, because she ran a daycare too for a long time.
Wow.
So that's why she couldn't like take me to and from school. So like she was dealing with other people's kids, and then until they had gotten picked up from parents, so I didn't get a lot of help from homework and stuff. So my mom and my dad just kind of had life moving, and I was independent. I was the oldest.
I was gonna say, being because our Mexican household. Yeah,
generally, my dad is half white and half Mexican.
Okay.
Again, his parents were born and raised, in the United States, kind of here in Fresno, Clovis. My dad was raised in Clovis. Went to Clovis schools. My mom also graduated from Clovis schools. So I can't say that I'm like your typical Hispanic household, and like I'm not bilingual. My mom isn't really even bilingual. My dad's definitely not.
I just meant more like, I guess, like the culture, like Mexican culture, like being the oldest.
Over time, yes, and I think over time I recognized more of like how my culture lined up in my life too. But yes, I think that as being the oldest, I was an example, told to be independent, could do more things on my own, helped out, was praised for being a good child, was praised for being helpful, those types of things. I definitely I got a lot of praise because I was a good kid. I mean, I really was, and didn't give my parents a lot of issue until I got into high school. But that was because I think I went a long time being pushed on the back burner or ignored, and just being the good kid, or thank you for being so helpful or so understanding. I really got that a lot. I got words of praise from my parents. I knew they loved me, but it was less time and more like, oh, thank you for being so good, or thank you for being such a good kid. And then over time, good kids get tired of praise and want attention.
I was gonna say, the kids shouldn't have to just accept understanding as a thing. They're not made to accept.
I mean, as a parent now, I look at that, and it means like I can't put understanding on my kids. Like I'm like, whatever situation I put you through, and I've had situations with my kids where that has been brought up. Whatever I've put you through, I'm sorry, and I take accountability, and I'm not going to thank you for understanding, because it's entirely reasonable for you to not be understanding. And so I think by constantly saying, you're so good, thank you for being so good, thank you for being so understanding, thank you for being so reasonable, thank you for listening all the time to me. I think when you do that too much, you don't allow a child to open up about how they're actually feeling.
Yeah, because it was basically like saying you're doing good by not saying anything, by being locked up. By
being silent or being the good kid. You're doing great. Don't cause havoc by saying your true feelings or by getting emotional or, and I wasn't totally an emotional kid. I'm an emotional person now. I think I've owned it more. But my youngest sister is very, very emotional, cries over everything. But she was like that as a baby.
Oh. So you already used to it? No.
We're used to it.
I don't know. I just think, obviously there's a level between, like you say how your sister cries over everything, and then you're over here like, we're just still boxes, you know? And it's like, obviously there's a middle that that's extremely hard to get to.
Right.
and that's what we're working towards, you know.
Right.
I guess,
Yeah.
both of us, like on either ends. So your sister's working on getting here, and we're working on getting the other side. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what's weird.
So, so having, you know, being in different places or stages and being from different generations, even.
Yeah.
You know, I even though it's 6-7 years, some people don't realize it's a completely different generation. And as the oldest too, I've always tried to set examples, like I don't really like to be talked to a certain way, and I'm not going to reciprocate, you know, moodiness, or if you're yelling at me to do something or trying to bicker with me, like we are 17 years old. Like I'm 30, I don't deserve to be talked to or told something in a certain way. We can communicate like adults, and I don't accept anything less. And so my sisters know that. They know that I don't care to be called out in a disrespectful way. If you want to talk to me, or if I'm doing something wrong, let's come to it and talk to me in a way that it doesn't seem like you're taking this so personal. Let's clear it up. Like, I'm sorry that I hurt you, or I'm sorry that you feel a certain way, but I've just come to that point. And yeah, maybe I've changed a certain dynamic in my family for being able to respond that way, and then also expecting that response later. Because I know that my sisters, wherever they go, if they aren't treated with respect, they demand it.
That's good. Yeah.
And I set that example by being like, no, you can't disrespect people. Whatever personal feelings you have, or personal problems you have, whatever bad day you had, you cannot just pop off on people and expect them to respond appropriately.
Right. You can't,
And that goes for anything, even in customer service.
Thank you. Yes.
Like, you know, even in customer service, it goes the same way. And I've worked in customer service for years.
How long do you think?
Since I was 19. So 11 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so I've been in the hospitality industry, working in restaurants for 11 years. Started out as a host, then moved into server. But I love the industry. I understand it. I do think that there is magic to conflict resolution.
Yeah.
I do. Especially if you know how to do it. And I feel like I'm really good at being able to do stuff like that.
Which is great.
Without pissing anybody off. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm trying to get you what you need.
Yeah. And that's what's funny is I never thought it was, you know, growing up I just thought, well, doesn't everybody just want to talk?
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh no, people are just
Sometimes I bother them by wanting to know how their day was, or wanting to know, you know, have they ever been here before? Or, do you live in Fresno? Did you grow up in Fresno? Yes, I can be that personal sometimes, you know. But that's part of what makes me me, is I'm not somebody that just goes into my job and has a server personality or persona, this mask that I put on to promote my restaurant in the most positive way. I'm also promoting myself as a person, you know. I am. I'm promoting my kindness and my customer service. I really am. I'm trying to show people how genuine I am in that process. It's hospitable to be genuine, right? Like if you're a host, then you're hosting openly and you want people to feel welcome and that they are invited.
Yeah, that's your job.
Yeah. So I like to talk. So I do. And some people don't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's some days where I'm like, none of my tables want to talk to me.
They just want to eat.
They just want to eat and go home.
And it's like, I mean, that's why I don't go out. Like, if I want to go out, I'll go out and
But don't get me wrong,
talk
I have
and stuff. And
like 70% of my tables do want to talk to me, and they ask me about myself and my life and get interested, and then, you know, they find out I make the desserts too, and you know, so it is like I said, it is promoting myself in a positive way, but also it's a representation of the restaurant that I work at. Like, what restaurants or business owners really allow someone to come in and be like a jack of all trades, right? Like, you know, but it's also the position that I'm a genuine, respectable, hardworking person. So it works out.
Yeah. No, I think that's what's good is you found, well, one, you wanted to do the desserts, you know, that was the main thing. And then you have this like I guess ambient. You have this thing about you that you're able to take into another space, which is cool.
Like I like to be social.
Yeah.
But I do like to be by myself sometimes.
Right.
I really do. There's times where I don't like to talk, but yeah, I'm able to utilize my personality and like get everything out of my personality. Just the goal is just to feel authentic and do things that make me happy. And also, I don't think that anybody should settle for less than what they deserve. And I went to my job and I wasn't working there. I decided to come back. I previously worked there. And then I took a break and I decided to come back after about a year and a half. And I said, but I don't want to come back and do the same thing that I was doing before. Like, I really want to get into the front of the house. There's things that I want to learn about the restaurant. I want to possibly manage. Like, there's goals that I have and ways that I want to grow. And I love this restaurant so much that I would like that to be disclosed before being hired, because they were asking me to come back, but I was like, I don't want to come back and just do the same thing. So if you want me back, these are what I want to do and my goals. And if you support these goals, then bring me back.
Right.
And they did.
Which is good.
So, but closed mouths don't get fed.
Yes.
And I believe everybody should go in and know what it is that they want to do and not be afraid to ask for it. Yeah. Especially if they're a hardworking person.
Yes. I think a lot of people are afraid, even the hardest working ones are afraid to ask for a little bit more.
Yeah, they feel like they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Or that it won't be given to them, or that somebody doesn't find them of that worth. But it really is an internal reflection of your own view of self-worth. If you can't go after what it is that you want, it's because maybe you're not feeling worthy of it.
Yes.
But I knew what I wanted, and it was a really big, I guess also a reflection of how I have grown in the past few years.
Right.
And how it is that I knew what my goals were and what I wanted to accomplish, and just kind of thinking about it, manifesting it, and then coming into a position where I could ask for it and being like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Which is crazy because it's just... Anyway, no, but it's like the literal American dream, because it's just wanting better for yourself and doing better for yourself.
Right.
And I'll tell you, the American dream right now is not easy.
No, it's not.
But you're doing it. You're doing the damn thing.
I think I am. I think I'm doing it to an extent. I think I'm in your starter package of what it means to go after what it is that you want. I mean, I'm just in the beginning stages, and I feel like I'm starting late, where I'm making moves to really do what it is that I want. I didn't get into the culinary part of things until I was 25. And
okay, wow.
Yeah, so I was just in restaurants, and I was a server for several years before that. And then I decided cooking is what I want to do. The kitchen is where I want to be. And baking and being in a restaurant is what I want. Like, I didn't want to just work for a bakery every day. Like, being in a restaurant was what I wanted, and working in fine dining. So I started to strive for that. And my first job out of culinary school was actually 13 Prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I've been working there since they opened, but they took a chance on me, and I was really ambitious at the time still, and I think I walk the walk, talk the talk. I also knew everything that they were talking about. I paid attention in culinary school. I used culinary school to get ahead. I knew it was going to be a lot of money. So I used it to get ahead. And even though people ask me all the time, do you feel like you wasted money going to culinary school? In the professional world, we ask that question.
Really?
Because you could start off working in culinary right when you get out of high school, or even before then. Start out as a dishwasher, start out as a prep cook.
Yeah.
You could, if you knew what you wanted to do, that you wanted to cook why didn't you just jump on it? You know, and I didn't really necessarily know what I wanted to do. I was just trying to focus on providing for my family. But I knew I loved to cook. Like when my very first real knowing that I liked to do things the hard way was when my son was eating solids and I made all of his baby food. I didn't buy a single jar. I was like, I want to do this. I was like, I will do this. So as soon as I started introducing solids, I made it all, pureed everything, made combinations, then I just started getting creative once he started to eat more food. So I knew really early that I wanted to do it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. I mean, if you know and you go for it, I don't think it's a waste at all. Hell no. No,
so I didn't feel like it was a waste because it was like crunch time for a series of several months in order to get me ahead and understand the etiquette of the kitchen. Like I said, people are losing the dream of being ambitious, right? Well, when they're working in a place where, like the restaurant I work at, where you can be creative, and people just come in like it's another job.
Right.
When you can set goals in this place and you can do things, and people miss out on so many opportunities to grow.
Right. I think it's because people. Maybe I think it's different, obviously, in the chef space, because when you like you said, you're pushing yourself. So, but when you do something like when you excel, your accomplishments are going to be noticed, obviously within the restaurant. But like people are going to come and be like, oh, like I'm here for the dessert or something, but anywhere else.
That's my favorite too. I love that. But yes, anywhere else you're saying like
they're not going to get the same where they put the creativity. So I get what you mean, where you have the opportunity to.
And even at my restaurant, the sous chef that we have there, he's very similar to me. We both are very we love the restaurant we work for. We eat, breathe and sleep 13 Prime and think about specials all day and really try and figure out how we're going to be better and try not to let everything that happened during the day affect us when we get home, So we love working.
Because it's still customer service.
That's totally something my parents instilled in me. My parents are warhorse workers.
Really?
They are workaholics, borderline workaholics. My mom works a lot and she works from home, so free to be able to log in at 9 and stay on till 9. And it's easy to do that, and she really doesn't take a whole lot of breaks, but I learned that from her. I saw her be that type of parent and that type of worker.
Right.
She would be late to pick us up from daycare
because she was working. Yeah. Now I don't know if that's personal, but your parents, are they together? Or?
No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
And they divorced when I was 12.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I was in 6th grade, when my parents divorced. And I remember when they were together. My sisters don't.
Right. Because they were a little younger.
They were younger.
And they were just like, eh.
So they finalized the divorce when I was 12. I think they split up when I was probably 10. So my sisters were 4 and 5. 3 and 4. They were really young. And so my mom, there's this particular story that she says about how our family dynamic was by the time when my parents were divorcing. She said that when my dad left, which she kicked him out, but when he left, that she didn't tell us or anything and waited to see when somebody was like, where's dad?
That's one way to do it.
And my middle sister, Marlena, who it was at the time just a daddy's girl, really close to her, or really close to her dad. We loved my dad. He was really he really is the nicest guy. He has his own, issues and such not, but my sister was super close with him, and it took her 2 weeks to say,
wait a minute,
where's my dad?
Wow.
And she was 5 at the time, I think, 4 or 5.
Wow.
And none of us else had been like, oh, where's dad? We didn't recognize that he was gone because he was gone so much.
Yeah, you just said, oh, he'll be back or whatever.
So my parents actually divorced because my dad had a drug problem.
Well, are you sure we don't live the same life?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so my dad had a drug problem. He had it before my parents got married. He just couldn't control his substance abuse, but he was a functional addict. So he would drink, or not drink, so he would, do coke in the morning and function all day. And
See, I'm sure that at least helps
that
you
at
function.
least helps you function, makes you feel like you're the Hulk or something.
Yeah.
And my dad was always a hard labor worker, so he would, probably do a bump or something. And we were oblivious to it for the longest time. I didn't find out about it until I was probably about 14 or 15 when I started to recognize the habits in my dad and be really affected and hurt by it, and came to my mom and was just, my mom and I have always been real close and talked a lot about everything.
That's good.
Yeah, well, I was her only child for 6 years.
Right,
and we had, my mom was also that type of mom that like played Barbies with me and like set up a tea party. And so I'm also that mom too, and then having homeschooled my kids, I was that mom also. Like I adopted those traits from my parents. There's certain things we take and there's certain things that we leave.
100%.
Yes, definitely. Like I've never done coke.
At least I hope so. I was gonna say, me either.
Like that's
at least
an attest to
so.
like.
Actually, at one wedding, it was offered. I said no, but I blacked out, so I don't know what's going on. All right.
Yeah.
But I still say I didn't do it.
That's funny. Yeah. So
I said no. Anyway,
my dad was an addict, and my mom just went to rehab with him probably 2 times. He went 2 different times and really couldn't kick it. She just kept finding it, and her best way to describe it, because my mom is so emotionally vulnerable and communicative, and we talk we have really deep conversations. All of us do. We all are on that. But my mom and I have definitely had the most deep conversations, I think, because I'm older, so I've been around to have those conversations. But she just was able to express how it felt to constantly feel like someone was choosing drugs over you and then hiding it. She's like, it was like cheating, but with something
worse.
Like it was like it was cheating, but it was in substance, and it was always like I knew it was happening, but like I couldn't prove it, or he would lose jobs. So I respect why my mom did decide to divorce my dad. They have a pretty good relationship now. They're very cordial. We do holidays together. Last year was actually one of the first Christmases where my mom came to my dad's, because we do spend Christmas morning over there. We go to like 4 different Christmases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. So then are your grandparents still around?
Yes. So actually, my mom's mom is still alive. My grandpa actually passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, sorry.
But then my dad's parents are both still alive.
I was going to say, because 4 Christmases sounds like you're going to all those Christmases, right?
Yeah,
Is that what I'm guessing?
a lot.
Okay.
That, my mom's, we're going to my dad's. I previously would go to my kids' parents' house, and I love to see them open their stuff, and we try and have the most cordial relationship that we can as well.
Of course.
And we do it for our kids, so we can continue to see those memories.
I was talking to Becca earlier too. It's her cousin. That her baby daddy, obviously they're more cordial now. It's like, because obviously it's for the kids,
It's just like they've come, and I mean, since she's my cousin, I've seen how far they've come, and it's been such a healthy thing to witness that they've come such a long way, and that they're in a place where they can even talk to each other and, say, hey, are you doing okay? And that's a really big thing, because you want to be able to know that you're able to check in with your kid's parent.
Yeah. I mean, because you're not doing it alone.
Yeah, and I don't mean check in like, oh, this is what I'm doing, but hey, how are you? Like, are you doing okay? Are you handling being a single parent okay? Because I'm struggling over here, but I know what you might be going through too, and I know it's hard to feel like you're alone.
Yeah. That's what I was like, there's people that are like 10, 20 years older than you guys that still don't have it figured out,
Right.
And their kids are adults now and they're hating their parents.
Well,
and it's
I mean, not to talk about other people's families, but my kid's dad, his dad, so let me go back. My kid's dad is one of 6.
Okay. Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, 6. So he's also the oldest.
Oof.
And so he's the oldest, and then he has another brother who is, I believe, 26, and then he has a 22-year-old brother, and then a 7-year-old, 7-year-old brother, and then a 4-year-old sister.
Wow. Okay.
And and then a stepsister who is also 22.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say a lot of younger ones.
Yes. So our kids are 12 and 7. So we have an uncle and an aunt that are the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but
They're growing up together.
Yeah, they're growing up together. Yeah, they tease each other about it though. It's funny.
Do they ever pull the uncle aunt card or whatever? They're like, I'm your aunt.
Oh yeah, Nico is the uncle. So
Okay.
and then that's Jose's brother, and so he's younger than my oldest. He's 12, and so he's always like,
uncle.
"I'm your uncle. You have to listen to me."
Oh, of course. In there.
And he's like, that doesn't even make sense. He's like, when my son is like 5'4" right now, and he's like, I'm 2 of you.
Damn. At 12?
Yeah, he's just getting there.
Did the doctor say how tall he was going to be?
No, they haven't said yet, but I think
they stopped doing that. They said,
I think
"We're not
they
gonna
don't say that
speculate
anymore. Yeah. I mean, with everything that we consume, who knows
they're like,
when
we don't
you'll
trust
stop
you
growing.
anymore. Yeah. Who knows what you're taking at home?
Yeah, but I think he'll be tall. I have strong height genes on my side, and I believe the height is determined by the maternal. Usually,
Is it really? Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay.
I believe so. Can't remember
My mom's
for
pretty
sure,
tall,
but I know
guess.
that men determine the sex of a child.
Oh.
That I remember learning in high school in biology.
Huh. So then that's why you guys have a lot of girls.
Yes.
A lot of girls.
That is why. It doesn't have anything to do with my grandma. It was all my grandpa.
Dang. See, now I'm scared to have kids. Well, I don't even want kids.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of girls in your family?
On my dad's side, yes. On my dad's side, there is a bunch of girls. Mm-hmm. My mom's side, there's a good mix.
Yeah.
So it's about half and half. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm like, I would say 60-40, you know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
60 girl, 40 boy.
So many girls. My son is one of the few.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's not, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, you're having a boy!" When I had a boy, like, yeah, I'm having a boy. Nobody has boys.
Yeah, you broke the curse.
Yeah, no, there's like a few of them, but
yeah.
really, there's not very many. I mean, and if there are boys, there are a lot of my oldest cousins, like some of the cousins that are like right in the middle. And there's so many generations, right? I think my oldest cousin is in his late 40s.
Wow. That's what it is when you have, how many siblings does your mom have?
Yeah, he's in his 40s. My mom is one of 8.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
And her brother is the youngest.
Okay. And she's where in the middle?
She's number 4.
Okay.
And my grandpa she tells me all the time, because I know also all of my mom's trauma.
Right.
And so she used to tell me, she's like, he used to call us by number. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4.
What is it? What is it called? The backyard? Oh no,
the backyard
kids next door.
Kids next door. That's funny. Yeah, that's it. They were numbered too.
Yeah,
that's funny.
You just got the kids next door coming out. That's funny.
Yeah, all 8 of them.
I mean, it's easier, I guess.
Yeah, my mom had a completely different upbringing than I did. Like, I recognize that totally. But my mom also has always recognized that too. But I've also felt like my mom has not expressed to us in her actions just how traumatizing her childhood was. I know that that she has just really healed and been very empathetic towards the situation.
Yeah.
And has grown from it and forgiven it and moved on and loved her family and loved her dad, and even no matter what she went through. But I recognize that things that my mom struggles with or has struggled with as a parent in how she raised us stems from what she experienced and what she went through and the lack of tools that she was given.
It's funny, you can almost see, like, when you start thinking or when you start hearing stories from your parents, how their parents were, and you're like, oh, I get why you are now. Like who you are, why you are.
Yeah, you're like, I understand. And I feel like my mom shared those things with me really early on. And I know that some therapists even say that that's not healthy, right? And I can recall on so many things.
It's a little late now,
I can recall. I know. I'm like, it's a little too late. My mom was sharing crazy things with me when I was in 5th grade. So, but it never was, and I don't mean like sexual. I just mean you know, in her childhood and what she went through, or the fears of, my mom did always was super hyper alert with us as far as like family members and male family members, because I know that went on in their family when they were younger. And so my mom was just like, don't, no sitting on laps, like, the door needs to stay open, no blankets, no, like, my mom was like, none of that. And I respect that, but it also instilled like a molestation fear and awareness for me at a really young age. So I just knew what it was, and it was very like fearful for me. But I never felt like I couldn't tell my mom if something like that happened, which nothing like that happened to me, you know, so I can't, and I sympathize with people who did have traumatizing childhoods in that way, but I do think that my mom took a big part in that, and also I was very comfortable with my mom and being like, that person was carrying me and touching me, and I didn't like that.
Weird, yeah.
And I'm like that as a parent now too, not as extreme as my mom was, but like, consent is a huge thing with me. I guess that's how I express it. Instead of being like, nobody should be, don't be touching people, don't be sitting on laps. Like, I don't really do that.
Instead of a hard no, it's more of a
hard no, or this is not okay. It's not okay. It's a, nobody should be touching you. Doesn't that feel weird? Doesn't that make you feel weird? What kind of sensation is that when people carry you? You know, if you don't want them to carry you, tell no. Like, and they shouldn't be carrying you. They know the difference between appropriate and inappropriate touching. Have I ever been like, oh my God, no sitting on laps, like type of thing? I have in a mild occasion. But I've never embarrassed my kids. I don't want to embarrass them or make them feel shame.
Because it's not like
for going along with something. I don't want that to be. I understand why my mom did it, was to make the offender uncomfortable, right? She would do stuff like that to make somebody else uncomfortable, and I understand my mom's motive on it. But I just choose to do it in a more gentle way, so that I teach my children awareness, so that they don't have to be ever in that situation, so that they can say, I'm not sitting on your lap, that's weird. I wish I could have done that instead of being put in the situation where I'm like, where's my mom? And my mom coming to get me. Because really she was just on top of it. So I trusted that she was going to be coming around the corner and figuring it out anyway. But it was hard for me to speak up as a kid and speak up about my feelings, or when I was uncomfortable, and the strong want to be liked even is something that when you're with so many of your family members and you have so many cousins, you know, it can be so cliquey.
You know,
there's so many of us.
You don't think about it when you have a smaller family, you know, but the bigger families, it's because, you know, they grow up at different times, or they just grow up in different areas, and it's just I mean, and since we're all adults now, we all get along in different ways, which was always something that I looked at when I was a kid too. I was always like, I wonder when it'll be that I can, my aunts and my cousins or my nieces and my uncles can hang out with each other, because I always saw that. My uncle was the same age as some of my older cousins, so they had like really close, cool relationships, and I was always like, that was really cool, you know, I love that. I would love to have that. Even now, that's like, I'm already a parent, I've already become a mom, that's like the greatest thing on earth, but I can't wait until I become an aunt. And like, that's always been something I'm like, I can't wait. And I mean, I can wait, but I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to be in that role myself. I mean, my sisters were so young when they assumed that role. It's a role that I can't wait to have personally. So I'm like, they almost grew up with that role.
You know, they did. They talk about that too. We've had talks about how they were like, you know, we couldn't really be aunts early on, you know, they couldn't, and I'd never wanted to make them feel like they were responsible for my kids. Right. There was too many situations where I felt like I was responsible for my siblings. So I didn't didn't want to push that on them as an older sibling. I didn't want to be like, oh, well, I took care of you, so take care of my kid. Or this is a village, you know, even though I have that mentality, even though I already have that mentality when my sisters have kids, or if they don't have kids, or if somebody is in my life that is close to me has a kid, I will do anything for you. Mm-hmm. I will watch your kids if I can fit it into my schedule. Mm-hmm. I will pick them up from school. I'm that type of person. I want to do it. I will be that person for you because it takes a whole village to raise kids.
And that's the thing, like you said, it takes a village, but you got to find a village that wants to, mm-hmm. you know, because...
And I know who's my village.
Yeah,
who supports me and who I can call on when I really need them. And I understand that so many people don't have that either. Yeah, mm-hmm.
And that's the issue. Is like, how do you tell? You can't just tell somebody go find a village, you know?
Right. And I do think that the big thing about me feeling like I have the support of my family without feeling like they're just helping me mm-hmm. is probably because I've maturely been able to set boundaries with them in our relationship over time. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I've had practice. And I do feel like I've been emotionally self-aware about my relationships for years. I mean, I'm always approach things with an open mind or the willingness to communicate. Mm-hmm. And I've been like that since I was really young. Hate being misunderstood. Hate it. I'm like, ooh, I'm being misunderstood. We need to talk this out.
or me misunderstanding somebody. Oh, I hate like if I'm just... Like, I need to be clear what you need me to do sometimes.
Yeah. Ugh. Sometimes I've been like that, too. I'm like, I don't mean to sound dumb. I was like, but the way that you're expressing yourself feels passive-aggressive and very minimal. I'm like, so let's figure out a medium. Usually that's like, I feel like when people are when you're misunderstanding people, like, usually people are being passive-aggressive if you're misunderstanding them mm-hmm. Because you're reading their emotions on top of their instruction.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe half the time they're just probably lying too when they tell you, no, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Honestly,
I don't force people.
I brush it off, yeah.
When I ask people genuinely, hey, how are you? Or do you want to talk about it? Or what's going on? Or... tell me, I'm here. And they're like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm not going to beg you. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, but don't look. Like, I'm just going to say, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm here if you need me.
And then, you know, it's the people that are like, oh, well, you never were there for me. It's like, well.
I was, though, but I'm not going to force it.
In the area. I just wasn't there, like, opening your mouth.
Or how come you didn't say that earlier? How come you didn't express that you wanted to hear me or say that before? And well, I did, but I'm not going to force it out of you.
Yeah. Like you said, closed mouths don't get fed.
They don't. That's like one of my favorite things, you know, lately, saying. Like, really, it applies to so many things.
It does. I think it's probably one I've recently applied to my life, I guess. Because, I mean, it's a saying mm-hmm. that everybody says, but...
But you don't realize how much of a... really effective saying it is when you say it to yourself, like almost as a mantra. Even like, if I don't say this, like, I'm not going to get the reaction I want or the response I want or the result I want or the answer that I want.
I mean, you still might not, but the chance
chance of it is none if you don't open your mouth.
Exactly. Because like, closed mouths don't get fed. Doesn't mean you got fed, but a closed mouth never gets fed.
I move with pure intentions. You know, I'm moving with my intentions being very good. And so applying that to even the closed mouths don't get fed, like you're not going to say something that is not with good intent, right? Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. Or even, I'm not going to say anything for, with the...
Can you just hold it?
Yes. Here, my cup is right there, actually.
Oh, yeah, put it right there.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
She's so cute.
I know.
She looks like Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. That's, I think, her whole general persona. Wednesday. She loves Wednesday. Cool. She's quite dark. She loves scary movies, really? Loves horror, everything, more than I do. There's times where we'll be watching something and I'm like, You're not scared? I'm kind of scared.
Not even saying I'm scared. You're just like, you're not scared?
I know, are you not scared? She's like, no.
And you're just like, okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to force myself to sleep now. No, she loves it. And she doesn't have repercussions where she's like, oh, I have nightmares. She enjoys it.
Every kid is completely different. That's what's funny.
And she likes both dark dress and, pink and purple. And so she does.
Does she have a favorite color?
A blue.
Oh, okay. She's like, go right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's exactly. I think she's, well, it's versatile. I can go dark blue or I can go light blue.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I honestly lost train of thought when we were...
I know. I'm not sure where we were either.
But I will say that I'm thinking of another drink. Do you want to?
Oh, yeah.
Real quick. A little refresh. Oh. Did you want another one, right?
Yes.
Preference? There's watermelon. Mango. Hey, kitty.
Damn. They spent $822.
Damn.
At the restaurant I work at for 7 people.
Oh, okay. That's not
That's actually not bad.
too bad.
If you think about it, it's about $100
It's a nice
a person.
restaurant. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
A little over.
And they were seemed like they were getting a lot of desserts, a lot of stuff.
Oh, they got a lot of good stuff. It looks like they got
So yeah, if you're gonna split
wine.
Oh yeah.
Shot of Jameson.
Ooh.
Bread pudding, calamari. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Damn. So they had a good time.
Yeah. I love those types of experiences, though.
Oh yeah.
The dining experiences are great.
Was there like a certain dining experience that inspired you? Or was there one maybe that you just like?
So I want to say that I think it wasn't until I watched Chef's Table on Netflix. I can't say that I've ever been to a place specifically or followed one person particularly, but there is a few different chefs on that show that really just, like I said before, watching how their head ticks, watching how creative they are, or how out of the box they are and what they're accomplishing and what they're doing and how it's so different.
Right.
And how they're just living their best chef life and
right.
really going after it, and not just living your typical working online or prep or not feeling, just knowing that there's more to being in the culinary world than it's just
art.
Yeah, it's art. You have to create 100%. It as thus. And I think I am also an art person at heart. Like, I love to make art and paint, and my daughter's really big on art.
Really?
And so, yeah, I just know that I really wanted to pursue artistic things, and I have to have an outlet. So, yeah, I think that that's just kind of what put me into the direction, and seeing how artistic they were on Chef's Table and just how much they loved it made me really go after what I wanted to and just kind of dive more into who these people were and how they got where they were and where they were.
Right.
And that was probably one of the most fun things, was looking at where they were and like when some places were close. Like I can't remember her last name, but Nancy is a famous baker on that show. And she has also a pizza restaurant and a bakery and a cake shop and a French patisserie.
Damn.
Yeah, so she's got restaurants, and most of them are in SoCal too. So
wow, that's expensive.
Yeah.
And see, I've been to like probably one restaurant where it was like fancy. It was in Vegas. I don't remember what it was called, but it was so damn good. And I know someone else paid for it, so I don't remember whatever. But I just know it was expensive as hell. And I was like, this is some
I've been to
just
some
ate
good
art.
ones. I can't even remember their names though, but I've been to some in San Francisco. Some really good restaurants on the wharf, even Fisherman's Wharf. I've been to Fisherman's Grotto, which is their high-end restaurant out there on the wharf. It's like on a boat type of thing. Yeah, so I went out there one time. That was probably my first dining experience, and I just loved the hospitality of it. Like the server, asked, we had crab and asked if we wanted a bib, and like we were like, whoa, like
You gonna
this
put
is
it on
top,
me? Yeah.
yeah, they did. Like
wow.
it was top tier. So I was just like,
okay.
I was like, I can't believe that places like this are really out here. Like I didn't expect for it, and I was like, and we're just regular people coming in to eat. Like,
I know. They're over here. Yeah.
I know. So maybe this wasn't where we should came. It was expensive, but we wanted to try it, and we wanted fresh fish, and we just wanted the best, and so we tried it out there, and it was really good. It was like one of our first experiences having a restaurant like that, instead of going to like Joe's Crab Shack, which you can actually see from the restaurant.
I was gonna say that, but like you said, it's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. So I see where these fine dining experience, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Joe's Crab Shack.
No.
But it's just seeing where the quality of hospitality and what you're paying for, goes above level. And you should always have a good experience. And I think that's why I had such a great experience is we went in there with our son at the time. I was when I was with my ex, and so we both went in. It was when he was living in San Francisco. We were 20 years old, like not even old enough to drink.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I think my son was 2, like barely 2. And so we went into this restaurant, like, just wanting to have dinner. And the server didn't treat us like any 20-year-old kids that looked like they were actually like 16, because we both looked really young.
I was going to say, you look 20 now, so you probably look.
So when I was 20, I just looked so young, and I was I could have been 19 or 20, and I was just very young at the time. And the server treated us like everybody else, but gave us super good service.
Right.
But I was already in the restaurant industry, so I was also like, I know exactly, like we're tipping him good, like we're tipping him, and we both got I got like a scallop linguine. I remember my meal. My kid's dad got it was a garlic herb crab, so the whole crab itself was like submersed into a steam butter bath. Like knowing now what it was, like I can describe it.
Now you're like, oh wow, yeah.
We had no idea what we were experiencing. It was just such a crazy good experience. But we also had my son in a high chair, so it was just great that we were able to do that. And there was a business meeting of foreigners going on at one table and like a high-end date at the other.
Yeah.
It wasn't extremely busy, but it was just a totally crazy experience. I think it was when we left, we were like, wow, we have not ever had an experience like that being young parents yet in general.
Right.
That it just changed everything. And so I think from then on, really knowing how I wanted to be in the hospitality industry, that even fueled it too, was being like, I want whoever comes in here whoever I serve to feel like I did when I was served, and not think that I'm doing it differently because of who they are.
Right. That's what it was.
They're on a date, or because I've even had servers be weird because you're on a date and they don't want to overstep boundaries, and I'm not like that. Like,
right.
Talk to us.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
I mean, you got some jealous women out there. I don't know.
I think it's their own insecurity.
No, it definitely is. I'm not saying it's
or
not.
their own traumatized in situations they've been in where they feel like they can't have a conversation with people.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it made me think of like how you say now you can describe what you experienced, and it makes me think of like how many things that we miss out on just because we don't understand the experience we actually went through. Yeah, I don't know.
I think about that too, actually. I think that's also part of the healing process of like looking inward and doing, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like shadow work, or like looking
I've
at
heard
your
of that.
childhood traumas, right? And really reflecting on certain childhood core memories and being able to reshape them as you're an adult. So it's an actual practice of being able to use your adult awareness to reshape traumatic events that you've been through in your childhood, so that you can now understand them better. Now that I'm older, I understand that situation. I understand what I needed in that situation. Let me change the scenario slightly in my head to where I'm giving that child exactly what it needs, even while I'm thinking about the situation. And then being able to close it and know that you reflected on it, and that you are coming out of that experience as the person that you are. You're not that child anymore.
Right.
But you are, but you're not.
Right. It's what you were. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but it is definitely a healing practice to be able to revisit memories or revisit things that have happened to you and understand them. And how many times that you choose to not think of memories and because you don't want to understand them.
Yeah. I don't know how much of your adolescence you remember, because I don't remember anything past like
So there's
third
like
grade.
a lot of. So I've heard that a lot too. I have a friend who doesn't remember a lot of her childhood, and I'm like, that's crazy. I remember most of my childhood.
Wow.
I can remember vivid memories of being even 3, 4.
Wow.
I think my earliest memory, I swear I remember when my parents took me to Disneyland, my very first Disneyland trip, and my mom's like, you're kidding me. And I'm like recalling specific things that I remembered. And she's like, you know how old you were? And I was like, no. And she goes, you were 18 months old.
Whoa.
I was like, really? And I was like,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's way.
I was like, okay. And don't get me wrong, I don't remember everything.
No, yeah.
But like, I remember that's like my earliest memory. And then I can even remember when I gained full consciousness. Do you remember when you gained full consciousness? Like when you woke up one day and you were like, I'm kind of remembering everything from here on out. Like, not really. Because
No.
we had traumatizing events in our childhood that we chose to push out, or at least that's the case for.
Are you saying that I was conscious really early and then I just said, oh shit?
Because you said you can't remember anything. You said you remember certain things when you were 3?
No, probably like third grade.
You don't remember anything until 3rd grade?
Before third grade.
Oh, okay.
So 3rd grade and up, I'm good.
And so you were 9?
Yeah, probably
8,
around
9?
there.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like I remember little things in like 1st grade, like flashes.
I can recall.
But no.
Every grade, even preschool. I remember moments in preschool. I remember meeting friends there. I remember getting in trouble one time for talking too much and having to pull a card. I remember when I first learned the 5 monkeys jumping on the bed, and I remember my teacher having finger mittens. I remember certain dresses that I preferred to wear in school, and I'm talking like kindergarten.
No, that's young.
Kindergarten, but my daughter's the same way.
Wow.
Same way. She remembers things from when she was like 2, and I'm like, I love that. You're like me.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're the same.
That's funny.
But she's super aware, and she's even more than me, because I don't remember everything. She remembers everything.
Okay, well, she's still fresh. Don't, come on now.
No, she's still
Give her another 15 years.
No, I think she's going to be like that forever.
Sheesh. Maybe she's photographic memory. That'd be crazy.
But yeah, so I can remember things from my early childhood. I remember when my parents were together.
Wow.
I remember when my parents were like separating, and I was probably like 9 or 10, and my mom went out we stayed over at my aunt Josie's, which is Rebecca's house.
Yeah.
And we stayed over at my aunt Josie's, and she was watching us, and we stayed there late. My sisters were there, which they weren't always usually with us, right? Because that was my time to go away, but my mom was going to go out with one of her other sisters. And she went out. I know this story because my mom has told it to me and been so transparent, right?
Right.
And her and my dad were separating. My dad was flipping the heck out about where she was at that point, freaking out. Where are you? Who are you with? And she was with my aunt, and then she met this guy out there, let him drive her home, to my Aunt Josie's. They were in the front yard.
Right.
And so she then said that he asked her if he could kiss her, and my mom's having problems, and separated from my dad, and she's like drunk too, had just gone out with her sister, and she's like, yeah. And so he kisses her. But she's like, it was stupid because I was wearing red lipstick. And she's like, and so your dad, my dad pulls up behind her and was there, like saw it, pretty much assumed it happened, right?
Yeah.
And was like, what were you doing? What were you doing? And she's like, nothing, we're just talking. And he's like, you have lipstick all over all over your lips. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I remember my parents not talking about that, but I remember the argument and the chaoticness, and my mom being like, we just need to go, get in the car, like we're leaving, we're getting in the car, because my parents showed up in separate cars.
Yeah.
And so my aunt Frances I think was the one that she was with, is driving us home, and we're in the back, and I know my mom's upset and crying, and it's like, oh my gosh. So I remember like super crazy details of even when I was like 10. My hard memories that have taken more time for me to like really recall are actually memories from high school.
Wow.
Yeah. Like middle school and high school. I remember some things.
Right.
But it's really hard for me to recall like what I know are core memories that, because middle school and high school are hard. And I know I went through a hard time, but there's certain things I don't remember, but there are things that I do remember.
Right.
But I know that there's certain things that I really don't.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. That's the mind, and and we still have no idea about it. I mean,
Right.
we do, but
It's a muscle.
yeah.
So you can
Apparently.
grow it. You can heal it. You can.
Mine's not growing, but yeah.
But if you think about it, like I said before, my kid's dad was in a huge accident, a few years ago, and injured his brain, had a brain injury, so technically classified as a traumatic brain injury. He actually can't taste and smell some things still to this day.
Ooh.
And so if you think about the amount of trauma your brain goes through, he did have some memory loss of his healing time. So not even like where he doesn't remember things that happened like before his accident. It's that during his healing process, he has a hard time recollecting that year after his accident.
Like it was all hazy, like fake.
Yeah, it's very hazy for him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you think about the amount of healing your brain has to go through, and why they say it takes years to 5 years for your brain to heal, because your brain is relearning even how to process information.
Sheesh. That's man.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about.
And so he did that for a year?
Like a year and on, I want to say. He said it was a little over a year, and then things just, I think life started to get easier once you feel like you're out of that haze.
You're doing it, yeah.
He's doing really well now, and very ambitious person too, has a lot of goals. Nice. But yeah, it took, he needed to heal from his brain injury in order to feel like he could focus on those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think most people need to heal from their brain injury before they
right, but
they
you don't think
continue,
about
but,
it, right? But brain injuries are, again, like emotional wellness and mental illness. They are hidden injuries. They are hidden things that people don't see. So because we're not, bleeding from our eyes or, bleeding from our ears, people don't realize that we could be going through it, or we could be healing from something that really is traumatic.
And I think it's because people are too I wouldn't say worried. They're too busy with their own lives. I mean,
Yeah, I think we're
I
all
don't know.
pretty selfish in our own ways, where we kind of still focus on what our focus is, or what tunnel vision, and have a hard time checking ourselves into the present situation, or being able to be like, oh, let me understand better about what's happening here. Why is this? I know this person hates their job, but how am I behaving right now in order to get this response? Or how can I I'm this person. How can I respond so that I don't walk away feeling irritated about this person, or feeling like I need to call them out, or like, but instead, and I'm not passive aggressive. So instead being like giving eye contact and saying, how are you today? Are you doing okay? Has it been a really long, do you get off soon? Like, I get concerned. I do, for people. And hopefully if I'm being kind or nice, can help that person get through the rest of their shift.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I know it. I feel it. I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you're just like, I'm done and I don't want to be here anymore. And you exude that with other people. So it's very often that.
No, it's fine.
Can you get the charger?
Oh my goodness. Of course. Here you go.
Oh, they look so cute. They look so cute.
Levi?
Oh, he's
in
over
the bed.
there.
He does look cute. Yeah, so I think that's very, for similar situations. I just prefer not to make someone's day bad. It would actually hurt me to be somebody that ruins somebody else's day. If you're already having a bad day and you're expressing that on me, but you're not like in a customer service situation, I'm going to, think twice about how I respond to you, especially if
Yeah.
someone is going out of their way to be really rude to somebody else. I even will step in that situation too sometimes.
To be like, is it necessary?
It's not necessary.
Yeah. And it's rare nowadays, I think, because a lot of people want to just be to themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, as long as I'm
That could
good.
be me. I would speak up or be passive aggressive in that situation where I'm not directly speaking to anybody, but I would be like, are you serious right now? Like, is this really happening? Like, I just don't accept that type of behavior. Like, you're making everybody here uncomfortable because you're being an asshole, or you're being a dick or something. Like,
because your own ego
because
is
of your own
bruised.
ego.
Yeah.
And this person's just trying to help you. This is their job. And because you know that this is their job, you feel like you have a right to treat them that way.
I was going to say that earlier you gave me that thought where you were saying, like, when you went to that restaurant experience and you were like, they just treated us like everybody else, right? And in that experience, no one, no disparities, because we were young parents. And what made me think was like, yeah, they just wanted with those kinds of restaurants, because there's a difference between
He
like
didn't even treat us like we weren't going to tip him.
No,
You
but
know, and some people do. Some servers will treat you like you're not going to be tipped.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
not that.
no, but I was gonna say, like, restaurants like that with the higher end ones, they want to provide. That's what they want to provide, is that experience, and they want to provide it to anybody who walks in the door.
I think also because it's in San Francisco, it's on the wharf. They're also a prime example of being able to say, anybody in the world is going to come to this restaurant.
Yeah.
Anybody in the world is going to come to this restaurant. So you need to, I love that you can see the reflection of their training through that. So looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, whoever trained that gentleman who served us, who he wasn't even really that young, you could tell he's been probably doing it for years, landed this job in San Francisco, probably now knowing, what servers make in high-end restaurants like myself, knowing he was making good money doing what he was doing. His expertise showed, and that's why he was working at one of the hottest restaurants in the world.
It really is not just an experience, but it's I don't know how to explain. It's an individuality. It's just a different thing.
It sets a tone. Yeah. I think it sets a tone for the general experience that anybody should be getting in the service industry. But because of the type of place that it is, I see why. Because of the high endness that it is.
Yeah.
The way that we're trained is very similar. to that as well. Like we're not in there treating people as if they're going to tip. It does disappoint us when people don't know how to tip. It does. I won't give
us a you know what let's give us a general rundown on tip etiquette, because everybody needs it.
Okay, so I think 18%, but rounding up or down is like really fine. 18% seems really big for some people, but for a restaurant like myself, or that I work at, and my sister's in the same type of industry as me. She works in a fine dining restaurant too. 18% is the minimum. I'm going to probably tip 20% personally. 20% I think is generous, kind. I've tipped in some cases, 35%.
Wow, okay.
Because I've really enjoyed the service. But I've also had people tip me 100%. So I know what it means to really feel like appreciated too. And I also know that not everybody gets to work in the industry that I get to work into. You have a lot of small diners, corporate restaurants.
I was going to say, it's a different thing. Like you said, fine dining and like...
Fine dining is usually family owned or owned by a particular person or a set of people. Not a corporate. Like Ruth's Chris is a fine dining experience, but it's a corporate. The restaurant I work at is owned by a couple. And,
nice.
Yeah, and same thing with Saison that just opened in Clovis. It's like the hot new restaurant right now.
Oh, really?
My sister works there.
Oh,
she's
nice.
a server.
Okay.
And I also know several people that work there too. Some of them came from 13 Prime as well. But they're the same way. So I feel like their tip scale is very similar as well. And same thing with their service. But yeah, I think that 20%, but even on our receipts, it goes up to the recommendations of at least 20, even 22%. But I do have a lot of really generous and nice guests that dine with me and go even people going out of their way to say something and then still tipping 18%. I'm like, thank you for the sweet compliment. Like, I love it. Goes on top. It's an extra oomph on top of your great minimum. Like, I'm happy with 18% completely. Even 15% sometimes. But usually when I know that people are, because we really go out of our way.
Right.
Like, we really do.
And that's why I'm saying it's a difference. Yeah,
it is a difference. So the want to see people appropriately tipping in the restaurant industry where I work in is a want. You really want to see people show their appreciation for the next level service that you're trying to give.
Of course, yeah.
And we're not giving it to just you. We're giving it to like 5 other tables.
Right.
We're giving it to still every table is getting the same service. No matter if you're with your child, no matter if you're with your grandparents, or if you're with your siblings, or if you're with your girlfriends, you're all getting the same service. And but it's all uniquely and still a unique experience catered to getting to know my tables and getting to know why they're there and what they're celebrating and what they're experiencing and what they're hoping to try. And
right.
It's really just being an advocate for your restaurant. But family owned is the way to go when it comes to any restaurant, honestly. Even if they own multiple locations, but family.
As long as it's under 10, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Saison is actually owned by the same people as Butterfish, Limelight, and Heirloom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've been to all 3 of those.
They all have similar owners.
Yeah.
And
Heirloom's good. Butterfish
13 Prime is about to be part owner as well of a new breakfast restaurant that's going to be open called Yoked. Our chef that we work with, our executive chef in our restaurant, is going to be opening that restaurant in the same lot as ours. So it's like 4 doors down.
He's going to go cook breakfast and then go cook for you guys?
Yeah, basically, because we only do dinner service anyway.
Right.
So, but it'll be fun. It'll be a great experience, I think, for all of us. But again, like if we want a change or something different, we now can say to the owners, because we all have close relationships because they are there all the time. we would like to try something new. Can we go to Yoked for a little bit and see what it's like? You know, can we try what that breakfast experience is like? Plus, you turn over tables quick in breakfast. And it's supposed to be a fine dining breakfast place.
Oh, really? Okay.
Higher
Yoked.
end, yeah.
And then where's it going to be located again?
Willow and Knees.
Willow and Knees, okay.
Yeah, 13 Prime is on the corner of Willow and Knees, too.
I'm all for breakfast, that's for sure.
I know, I love breakfast.
Brunch
Good.
or whatever.
Waffles, French toast, or pancakes?
You know, I don't get them often, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a French toast guy.
I love French toast, top tier. But next would be waffles. Pancakes would never. I don't like
Never? Ever? So,
I think it's a texture thing. I don't really care for them. They're too soggy. Too heavy, soggy. Like, I feel like it's heavy.
okay, well, my mom has a recipe because my grandma is diabetic. So my mom has this banana
that
recipe.
sounds good.
It's not bad. And they're not heavy.
Yeah, and
Well,
I've had
I have
good
to check.
pancakes
Well,
before. I've made good pancakes from scratch before, but like I can only do like 3, and they're only like this big.
No, yeah, they get nasty.
I don't like the big IHOP pancakes. I can't get through them or through any sort of, even local places here in town. I can't do pancakes very well. If I'm just
don't
not
like
going
how
to
the
waste
texture,
my
like you
money.
said.
I'm like, why? I'm going to get French toast or waffles instead.
Yep.
I like waffles because of the texture too. Same thing. Have a good crunch on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really notice that I like crunchy things inside stuff, you know?
Yeah.
If I make a sandwich, I gotta put chips or,
I do that too. Yeah, for sure.
you know?
We made fried rice today at work, and it had bacon, egg, of course, everything good. And then our sous chef makes his own garlic chili oil, and the texture on that is amazing because you're frying it, right? But the stuff that you buy, that you get in restaurants, like pho places, the garlic chili oil that's like on the table, it's not as textured, right? Like he fries his up and jars it, and then when you pour it on your fried rice, it has that same bite to it. So it's just amazing to make stuff separately.
Yeah.
To make stuff and inspired in other ways.
And that's why I say it's an art. I was thinking about this the other day because I recently did an interview with my uncle, and we talk a lot about human nature. But we agreed on human nature finally was that human nature is desire. Human nature, you know, that's all we want. We just desire things, whether we desire better, worse, I don't know, jobs, drugs, I don't know. We have desire.
Yeah.
But what it got me thinking was like how we have all these different like math or even restaurants like the chocolatier, like this is desire. The next step in desire is just where this is what I want, but this is like passion is what
right, passion is what fuels desire.
Universal. I think it's more universal. I think because desire is more this is for me, and then your passion, like when you're passionate something, it inspires more people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like myself and a couple other people in the restaurant and my sous chef, we're all passionate, right?
Yeah.
That's what we describe ourselves as, is we say we're passionate about the restaurant for one, but about food in general. Like we are very passionate about that, and also about continuing to get better and continuing to learn and being open to learn from your peers. So like I am always willing to listen and learn from my sous chef, and vice versa though, because we are in 2 completely different fields. I am a baker and he is not. And so many times have I been in a situation where I've learned something from him, but he's also learned something from me.
And that's what I like about humans. Once we get to a passion point, then we start to share and we start to like come together. And, so
definitely.
That's what I love. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could cook like that. I mean, I can cook. I can follow instructions, but
yeah, no, I know but I can teach. I teach cooking.
Do you?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Like I mean,
I do love baking.
I
love baking. So
I think that everybody can actually learn how to cook at least basic things, or if you describe it right, then yeah. I mean, from knowing exactly what is going to burn oil. Usually that's your problem, right? Is people burn things, but you're heating your oil to a certain point. So if you are overheating your oil, then you're probably going to burn your food.
I just know I can follow.
Don't ever get it to a smoking point.
I just know I can follow a recipe.
If you can follow a recipe, then you can cook.
All right, I can cook. Because I made this is like this Japanese egg, where you put like soy sauce in it.
Oh yeah.
And you like fold it over, and it's
It's
like sushi or something. It was good.
That sounds good.
That was like the only thing I ever made where I was like, oh wow, I'm cooking. Like everything else.
Have you ever had musubi before with like the spam and the rice and the seaweed? Those are super easy to make too, and they're so good and they're filling. And if you make like a batch of rice, you can make like 15 of them with 1 can of spam.
Oof, I love spam.
And then you can keep them in the refrigerator, and then you just microwave them before you're about to eat them. It's so good.
There's a spot nearby. I forget what it's called. They just opened up, but they have a bunch of those. But they're expensive. I think it's probably better at making myself.
It is totally. It's poor man's food.
Can you get seaweed? Well, you like
the
wrap it
nori
in
wraps,
there?
you can get them at Vons, Save Mart, any specialty place, even like Sprouts. But there's a ton of Asian markets here, and they sell them for cheaper.
That's the thing I like about
RN is my favorite. Yeah.
The shop?
RN Market over on Cedar and Herndon.
Cedar and Herndon. Okay. I was gonna say that's one good thing about Fresno. Obviously the diversity. So there's a lot of good shops.
I've heard that a lot, even from people that don't live here or haven't lived here before or new to here. They've said that if they haven't even lived in California before, right? They've said that Fresno is just so melting pot, but everywhere is, right? But SoCal, you have more of your like Hispanics, right? Yep. And then to the Bay Area, you still have Hispanics, but you have more Asian also cultures as well, but different kind of Hispanic cultures.
Asian, Indian,
yes. And then so I feel like, yes, you do get a lot of Hispanics in California, but you get a ton of other things. Like Middle Eastern is also a huge diversity here.
Yeah. You don't really notice, but... No. Or no, you didn't know. Yeah.
You didn't notice before, but now you notice so much more that yes, you see so many kids. I mean, my daughter says the same thing to me. She's like, I have so many different kids in my class. And then you're saying their names, and I'm like, oh yeah, these are great. These sound like diverse names.
I was going to say, was she homeschooled at all? No.
So she was homeschooled for basically preschool, kindergarten, and half of first grade. We put them in middle of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is she liking it so far?
She does. She loves it. She's the reason why they went back. She wanted to said, I want to go to school. And I said, okay. Multitude of other reasons why might we put our son in school too. But for her, we let her lead. We knew that it was going to be okay, and that it was going to be the right fit for her, and that she was going to thrive in a school, a regular school setting, and that it wouldn't be like how it was for me, or how it was for my son, or how it still kind of sometimes is. And plus, he has a low immune system, so he just gets sick all the time. So it is hard, but he's gotten better, and he's adjusted really well, and likes school too. But he wants to like it also, because he hasn't been in school, so he's like, I want to like it because I want to go to high school. And,
right. I think when you're without for so long, you're like, oh, it could have been like not like this, but like, oh, there's more to it.
But we also
more kids or something.
Are the type of parents that if an issue arises and he's like, I don't want to be in school anymore. Like there was times where I was like, take me out. I don't want to go to school anymore. Do something else with me. Let's figure this out. Feeling desperate to just be like, I don't want to go to school. If my son was ever at that point, I would say, okay.
Right.
Okay. We will bring you home. Not that you won't have to do schoolwork or have an education.
No, right.
But if school is stressing you out because of the social setting, or because it's overwhelming, or because you're not getting along with the teachers and you don't feel like it's the right setting for you, sure, let's come home.
Yeah, I want to tell you how many teachers I was ready to be like, But that's that's what a good parent is being able to just have their child be open with them.
Autonomous is one of the things that I like to say too. It's like being able to be in charge of their body, choosing to having choice over their own decisions that they make because they are an individual. They're not my child, I'm their parent. Yes, they're not just my child, and I'm not just their parent. They are an individual. They are not a reflection of me. Yes, they are a reflection of me because of how I have guided them, but they are not. I cannot think of them as a reflection of me.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I really am hopeful for in like the way our generation raises kids. Obviously, I don't have kids.
I agree, but I know you witness it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's
very the gentle
I'm
parenting,
hopeful,
and we're
yeah.
learning too. Like don't get me wrong, I yell at my kids. You know, I do.
Frustration,
but
yeah.
frustration.
They're kids.
But it's also because that's how I was parented.
Right.
That's how I was parented. So the lack of patience in my childhood home, you know, I try and I'm aware, and I try very hard not to let that reflect in my parenting.
And that's all we can do is make sure that we pass on the good that we get from our parents, because obviously we don't get all the good, we get some bad, but you know, try to pass on only the good, I guess.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
But I am not an alcoholic, but I'm close to it, so I'm gonna get another one.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I was gonna say that too. I do need to go. So
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
quick intermission. So we're gonna be here a while, it feels like.
Maybe.
And I do gotta pick up Becca.
Oh yeah, you do. So we could wrap up a little bit, or you can ask me a couple of core questions that you want to.
See, and that's the funny thing is I
don't have any major questions.
So my major questions are usually where you're from, who you are. I mean, you know, like when you were younger, what you wanted to do, and obviously what you want to do now.
Right.
But you've said these things, you know.
Yeah,
So
kind of let it flow in the conversation.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And then because I like where it goes when it goes to other places. 'Cause, I don't know, I like to leave it open.
Yeah, I
Everybody's
agree.
chapter is different. So.
It's true.
But I guess we do gotta, you know, have an ending to it. So I will say this. For a last question, obviously you've seen a good amount, you know, and now you have kids and you're growing. I mean, you know yourself, and you know you're growing with your kids.
Yeah.
What is a future that you want for your kids? I guess, like, what's something that you think needs to be changed, or something that you want solidified for their future?
I definitely want to be able to create opportunities for my children, or basically, I think a term that we don't use enough is generational wealth. But what generational wealth means by more than just money as in wealth, right? But I think generational wealth, by being able to use the connections that I've made, can also open up opportunities for my children. And being a genuine, authentic person is going to allow me to make those connections. But at the same time, I feel like every job, opportunity that I've been given has been presented based off of somebody that I've known, or somebody my parents knew, or somebody. So I can't say that I interviewed and worked hard to get every job that I got. I knew that they were hiring, and my parents sent me, my friends sent me, my in-laws sent me. No matter what opportunity it was, yes, did I answer the opportunities all the time? I wasn't somebody that was like, no. I took the opportunities, but I presented myself and knew that my parents had or my family members had good connections. That's why I got into serving. My grandpa drank coffee every morning at the restaurant that we worked at. And was like, my granddaughter is looking for a job. You know, I think she would love to get into serving. And so I was like, yeah, I would. And the rest was history. I loved serving from the get. And
Wow.
but yeah, that was the first opportunity. And then every other job after that, I knew somebody that told me that this place was hiring. And so I can't say that I still didn't have to interview and work for it, because imagine if I did a terrible interview, or
I was gonna say, if you didn't do a good job,
communicational skills, then I wouldn't get the jobs. But through all the little jobs that I did do, even though I had parents that represented for me, my parents didn't create generational wealth for me. So I don't do any of the jobs that I was sent to, other than the restaurant one or the serving job, right? That opens the door for me to love the hospitality industry.
Right.
However, I want to be in a place where I have restaurants eventually, and my children can inherit those restaurants, right? But they also don't have to. That's not something that they have to do. I should be able to create a generational wealth where I have financial advisors with the company that I work for, or the managers that are there, or people that are in my family that are willing to direct the business as an ownership standpoint, but knows that there's an opportunity, just as an owner, to hire the people that can help you, the people that are going to create the menu, people that are going to work every day in the kitchen, the people that are going to hire the people for you. So I've seen how these restaurants can work, and how it can create a stability for your family. The owners that I work for, their son works in the restaurant. He's a server, and he works full time.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's, that's an opportunity that he was able to have created. And
Pretty much, yeah.
Who knows if he continues down the path and wants to keep making money, and they want to open up a management opportunity for him or something like that, or say, hey, we think we want to open another restaurant. We want you to manage it.
Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. Whatever goals that they have, they're creating stability for their family and opportunities for their family directly, instead of just through connections.
Right.
But because you're networking, restaurants are always the best way to network, honestly. Like, you meet people from all walks of life. The more connections you make in the restaurant industry, you know people from all different types of industries. And then you create those connections, and then you can create connections for your children too, in all sorts of ways, like in the tech industry and science. But by continuing to advocate for the fact that I want to create financial stability for my children, and to also knowing that I'm not going to force my children out of the nest when they're of age. Like, I will allow my children to be home. I will support them, with reason, while pushing them in the right direction.
Yeah,
but
healthily.
Yes, healthily, but also be consistent. But that's really my goal, is just being creating generational wealth for my children. I want to know that my kids and my grandchildren are going to be okay, and that they have the tools necessary to create that same path for their families.
Okay, no, I see it. And that's good, yeah. It's always good to solidify the base. That is weird. It literally just stopped in the middle of that. All right, well, either way, we were on the way out. So I will say this. Again, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This is, like you said, being open and vulnerable is brave. So you're brave. You're brave, as are all the other ones that have come on, and hopefully, eventually, it's not brave. It's just natural. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
There'll be more episodes. So down the line, if you're like, let's do it again, do it again. I'm down.
All right, I'll let you know.
Other than that, thank you for watching. If you didn't watch, we still love you. And that was Chapter Sara.
Great.
Have a good one.
Thank you.